Good morning, traders. I am Emily Ivani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, August 23rd. Investors look for direction. Will Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell help them find it today? Yesterday, stocks slumped during regular trading as investors attempted to maintain footing without any solid catalyst. The Dow gave up 177 points or 0.43%. The S&P 500 shed 50 points or nearly 0.9%. Weighed down by tech, the Nasdaq tumbled almost 300 points or 1.67%. Bill, let's get into Friday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.6 of 1%. That's a positive opening. Everything looks green. It's going to be a good day, it seems. Listen, the key today, we're going to be hearing from Jerome Powell. He's going to be speaking, and everybody's been, waiting for this moment all week long, for even longer than a week. But, honestly, he's unlikely to provide any significant comments on the economy that we don't already know. The only thing that I'm really kind of looking for is him to probably make a little bit of a turn to start talking about, employment data rather than inflation being, a key metric that the Fed is going to be looking at. What was more important last night was the or this morning was, the Bank of Japan chief, because he was speaking and, he gave a speech that really calmed market fears as he indicated that the Bank of Japan is not in a rush to raise interest rates. And they're watching inflation. Inflation's, they want it to come down to 2%. But their currency is so weak, and that's what's causing the Japanese market to have such big gains that he's got to keep that from falling down. And, he did note that he's going to be watching the markets closely before taking any action, but it doesn't appear like they're going to be doing any rate hikes in the near future in Japan. So that really was a calming speech that he gave. Last night earnings, mostly positive. You got earnings from CAVA, Workday, Intuit. Okay. Big story out today. General Motors and Uber, they're teaming up on a robo-taxi service. That's interesting to see. And of course, the Jackson Hole meeting. That's with Powell speaking, that's going to be the big event for today, Friday the 23rd. Let's take a look at overseas action. We got in Germany, we got the DAX. The DAX is trading higher. We're showing the DAX up 97 points or 0.53%. We're showing the FTSE up 24 points or 0.29%. We're showing the CAC up 32 points or 0.43%. The thing is, in Germany or the Eurozone, inflation expectations remain unchanged at 2.8%. That's where it has been for the last 3 months. No change is actually positive here. In London, you're seeing some gains in energy stocks and mining stocks. The CAC is adding because of business confidence. It improved significantly in August from July. In July, the reading was 95.4. The August reading was 98.8. That's a big uptick. We're keeping an eye. We're keeping an eye on what happened in oil this morning. Oil's always interesting to me, because you got WTI now trading up $74.40 a barrel, where Brent is at $78.51 a barrel. That's up over 1.5%. The market's paying close attention to the three key factors: Middle East, China economic data, and of course inventory reports. Next week we have the inventory reports. They're going to be what they are, but there's no real China economic numbers coming out until later in the week. I think till Friday. So that's something to keep an eye on. Their PMI data comes out on Friday out of China. But if you look at the Asian markets last night, face the facts. The Nikkei jumped 0.4%, 153 points. Hong Kong fell about 0.16%, and Shanghai, rose, about 5 points. In China, they snapped that 3-day losing streak. You have some gains in autos and financials and tech stocks moving higher, which was nice to see. But the real market action was Japan, and that was due to the comments from the BOJ. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, we will see if we can keep up this momentum and energy as we start the trading day. This is early action that we're watching here on NewsWare's Trade Talk, and you're following not only all the information that you mentioned here in your opening, but you're keeping track of those earnings reports. You mentioned some that came out last night. You're looking at these economic events, the headline, as we both mentioned, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, and there's still other market moving headlines you are following this morning. We're going to get to all of it, starting with earnings action. Bill, what is going on there?
Yeah, well, we had CAVA Group came out. They beat that ticker CAVA, Charlie Apple, Victor Apple. They beat by 5 cents on higher revenue. You look at the stock this morning; it's trading higher by 8.35%. You got Workday, ticker WDAY, William David Apple Yellow. They beat by 10 cents on higher revenue. You look at the stock; it's up 14.8% this morning. And Intuit, ticker INTU, they beat by 15 cents on higher revenue. Stock's up 0.34% this morning. Upcoming, nothing this afternoon. Monday morning, you got PDD Holdings, Paul David EPS is $2.89. Expected move is 8.29%. And then Monday afternoon, you have Trip.com Group, EPS is 74 cents. Expected move is 9.23%. But, next week is an interesting week. Like NVIDIA is going to be releasing on August 28th. I mean, that's set for a 12% move when they release. Salesforce is releasing next week. They're set for a 4.5% move when they release also on the 28th. PVH, they're going to be releasing on the 27th. They're set for a 12% move when they release. And let's not forget CrowdStrike. They're releasing on the 30th. They're currently priced for a 12% move. So, we got a lot of good earnings, coming up that we're going to be paying attention to, but there's still a lot of action going on in the market today. But that's what I have for in terms of earnings reports, Emily.
Bill, you'll be watching all of those, the earnings coming out next week using your NewsWare. There's some big names there, could be market movers. We'll also follow it along right here on this show and keep track of it day by day. For our listeners, we're also keeping track of economic events this morning. Obviously, the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium is the big headline here. So, Bill, give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
But, at 10 a.m., we got the new home sales figures coming out. 1 p.m., you have the Baker Hughes rig count coming out. But everyone's attention really is going to be at 10 a.m. This morning when Fed Chairman Jerome Powell starts to speak at Jackson Hole. I mean, there's a strong possibility that Powell's going to use this speech to change the main focus of the Fed from fighting inflation to labor market dynamics. It's going to be soft, but it is. I think he will be starting to show a shift. Yesterday, we did hear from President Susan Collins of the Boston Fed, and she did indicate that a gradual pace of rate cutting is likely to be appropriate at the September meeting. And Philadelphia Fed Bank President Patrick Harker also expressed support for a potential interest rate cut in September. So, as we've been saying, it really lines up that we will have a rate cut in September, and that will probably be echoed by Fed Chairman Jerome Powell today at 10 o'clock, but we'll have to wait and see what his testimony, if there's anything startling that comes out of it. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic update today, Emily.
Bill, again, keeping track of those earnings, the economic events, and you're still keeping track of other types of data and information coming out of different sectors and segments. You're following things this morning like guidance news, buyback news, other catalysts. Every morning you take your stocks, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks, you group them together, and you're able to watch headlines and information to see trends on the trading day. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stock. I got 24 higher, 6 lower. It's a good ratio. And then I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm showing green across the board. That's a good indicator. So yeah, we're going to have an opening. We really do look to have a higher opening this morning. You're looking at some of the news behind the headlines, like Apple. Apple's going to let iPhone users in the European Union delete native apps, including the App Store on their phones. Amazon, this is interesting. State-linked Chinese entities are using cloud services provided by Amazon or its rivals to gain access to U.S. chips and artificial intelligence capabilities. They're getting around the prohibition of high-end chips being sold to China just by using U.S. companies' cloud services. Google, they have that DeepMind division. Those DeepMind workers are urging the company to drop military contracts. Okay. Tesla, we're seeing gains in Tesla. It's up about 1% this morning. But BMW's market share in EV sales jumped 3.2%. I mean, I've always said this is Tesla's biggest problem. When the competition starts to heat up, it's going to cause Tesla problems because that will result in pricing pressure. When you have pricing pressure, you're not as profitable. That's a big issue for Tesla. They're not going to sell as many vehicles, and the number of vehicles that they're going to be selling are going to be done at a lower price because there is competition. There wasn't competition 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Now there is, and with that, Tesla's got to do something new. They got to reinvent themselves, to be more than just an EV company. We're talking Dow stocks. We're talking Intel. Their board member, Lip-Bu Tan, resigned effective immediately from the Intel boards. That's interesting. Intel is trading higher by about 1% this morning, but it's interesting when a board member resigns, especially immediately. Boeing, ticker BA, we're seeing some gains in the stock, up 0.3% this morning. NASA is going to decide soon if those astronauts are going to return on, the Starliner or SpaceX craft. We'll see. Amgen, I see that Moody's rating affirms Amgen's Baa1 rating, but they revised the outlook to stable from negative, so that's positive for Amgen. What else? We got merger news. Oh, this is an interesting one. Paramount Global, Para. Remember, Edward Brofman's made that bid, and then he, revised the bid even higher to kind of take over the company. Well, that may have breached the terms of the Skydance deal because that's extended the go shop period for, and that's not something that was, that was written into the Skydance deal when they made their offers. So this could be an issue, an upcoming issue that we'll hear more about. The Skydance may be looking for, some cash if they do a deal with the media executive and Seagram's there. In terms of guidance news, we're talking Ross Stores, ticker ROST. They raised their 2024 guidance to $6 and $6.13. Street estimate is $6.01. That's an uptick. Intuit sees full year 2025 EPS coming in $9.16 to $9.36. Street estimate's $19.15. So that's an uptick either way you look at it. I like it. I like it. In terms of buyback news, Ibotta, ticker IBTA, India Boy Tom Apple, they announced a 100 million share repurchasing program. In terms of catalyst calls, Ulta Beauty, it's been riding away because Buffett took a stake, but Citibank just opened up a 90-day negative catalyst watch on the stock. Wow, that's surprising. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to end this week?
I'm going to go with PDD Holdings. Earnings are up Monday morning. EPS is $2.89. The estimated move is 8.29% when they release. You look at yesterday's call volume, 43,539 versus put volume of 40,192. And then you get the open interest, 652,377 versus 466,534. Again, positive. And the major brokers do like it. They are raising price targets. They are going up. I do think that we could see a gain in the stock today. Honestly, I want to get in 46 to 46.50 is kind of my entry point there. I'm not really planning on holding into earnings, and here's why. Because, I'm reviewing last quarter's earnings report. And the CEO continues to make these comments in last quarter's earnings reports where he's discussing long-term initiatives. And he's saying it just a little bit, we're not investing for the short term, we're investing for the long term, we're looking for long-term growth. Kind of tells me that they're setting up for a miss. But, I'm trading stock today, and if I can get in, 146 to 146.50 in that range, it could, get some momentum and trade higher and achieve 1%. But PDD Holdings, that's my pick of the day today. I'm not planning on holding it into earnings at this point, Emily.
PDD Holdings, it is. We'll follow that along with you. You'll take that 1% and walk away if you see that during the trading day today. And coming up, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day before we sign off for the weekend, so don't go anywhere. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
AREB, Apple Richard Edward Boy, American Rebel Light Beer enters full production in several states. AT&T, ticker T as in Tom, they were awarded more than $30 million to deliver high-speed internet in California. Moderna, mRNA, announced VC granted marketing authorization for COVID drug. Starbucks, can pumpkin spice ignite a Starbucks rebound? It's already really rebounded a lot. It's gone from 70 to 90. So I don't think it can go much higher. Uber and GM Cruise, they're doing those robo-taxis. Interesting, Tesla was left out. I mean, Lyft can do a deal. Lyft can do a deal with Stellantis, which makes a lot of sense. Both are European companies. I don't see them doing, Audi or BMW, but I could see them doing something with Stellantis. And Ford and Tesla, there just seems to be bad blood between the two companies, so I don't think anything could happen. But Lyft is really the key, and Lyft is Lyft doing a deal. Stellantis makes sense to me. Pfizer and biotech confirm FDA approval for their COVID-19 vaccine update. Alibaba, ticker BABA, they're going to be adding a Hong Kong primary listing on August 28th. AstraZeneca, ticker AZN, they may move their vaccine manufacturing from the UK to the US. There's a story out there this morning. Jazz Pharmaceuticals, ticker JAZZ, their stock's fallen this morning. Phase 3 trial, failed to meet primary endpoints. Not good. PCG, elevated number of fires caused by power lines affecting the stock. And that's all I'm seeing this morning. I mean,
Okay, Bill, before we jump off to get into trading on this Friday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was JD.com. Now, Bill, you made this pick following Citi opening a 30-day upside catalyst watch on the stock. As listeners may recall, this followed that sale from Walmart with some, bulk of these shares. So that stock took a hit. It was coming back. That catalyst watch was open. So you scooped up some JD.com. We're hoping to get some momentum in the stock from there. So, Bill, how did your call work out?
I mean, I think it's still working out. Stock opened up at $27.18 and it closed at $26.64. I got in at $26.94. I'm holding. I'm sitting on it. Right now, the stock's at $27.05. So, I got a gain. I'm sitting on it. Okay, we'll see. But I think that we got another, Chinese e-commerce coming out with earnings. That stock should move a little bit today. You got a bull market, forming this morning. So I think if I can just hold, for till like 9:30, 10:30 this morning, I'll achieve that 1%. It's not going to take much for it to jump, another 10, 15 cents, and that give me that 1% gain. So I'm just sitting tight. I'm not done with this trade yet. It's still developing, Emily.
We're going to hold off on calling that one, see if it still has some legs there in JD.com. We will also check in with you on Monday about today's PDD Holdings pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.